talk a little bit about this little brouhaha that came up recently about Oprah Winfrey telling white people to recognize their white privilege and racism, which is kind of shocking and upsetting, obviously. And interesting because, we see that she is a successful African-American woman, a successful human being who happens to be an African-American woman. And for her to lecture us on that is a strange thing, to say the least. And so what I wanted to say about that was, just talk a little bit about my understanding of Oprah Winfrey. Growing up in the 80s and 90s with Oprah Winfrey on television, see her show every now and then, was never really a big fan. When she had her talk show in the 80s and 90s, she one time presented a blood libel. Which I don't really want to talk about this subject, but it was initially very shocking to me when I saw this video. And if anybody else would have given such a platform to somebody, they would have been shouted off the air, accused of anti-Semitism. And yet she was able to get away with it. That's Aleph. That's one side. So that's what maybe we would put in the negative side. On the positive side, though, since she's built her own media empire, subsequently, every now and then we'll come across something of hers that I saw to be positive, and I often reflect on what we would say there's a difference between the liberal and the leftist. And in general, she would be what we would consider an authentic liberal and not a leftist. And it should be fine. Everything should be okay. But a statement like this is not only leftist, but it's absurd, it's bizarre, and it's offensive. Particularly coming from reflecting upon all of her own success. I enjoy, every now and then, particularly for work, I have to present things about different religions and review videos like this, and every now and then I'll find something that she'll present about different religions, and it's fascinating. She did, interesting programs on our communities and on Hasidic Jewish communities, which were very nice, and I would say were positive. So then to come across with this, to make this type of statement, is kind of strange. and it seems that she, is including all white people in this essential whiteness that's just, I know that the left has been harping on this as a tool to try to divide this country and destroy this country, but that someone like her could buy into this is very strange. And it's even stranger in light of something that I mentioned, that I have to, present different religious views and so forth, because for people in the institution that I'm serving. And so starting actually today, there was a request which was approved, and it seems that it's what I have to do, to show videos from the NOI, the Nation of Islam. And so I got Minister Farrakhan's video from this week's, from last month, from the 4th of July. It was supposed to be on Fox Soul, something like that, but then there was protest and it was removed. And I was supposed to watch the whole thing, and then one of my co-workers that I supervise came to visit me, and I was halfway listening to that, halfway listening to him, and trying to multitask and not really doing a good job of either one. And it was interesting because Farrakhan was saying the opposite. He was saying that the poor white is just as much the victim of the institutions that he opposes, Farrakhan opposes, as the black people are, in his teachings. So somehow, and I haven't really heard very much from Farrakhan. What do we hear? We hear here and there that he said something like, about Hitler and this and that, and then I happened to run into people who from the Neturei Karta at the time who met with Farrakhan. It was because I was working in a bungalow colony, and the lifeguard was a prominent spokesperson for the Neturei Karta, Chaim Tzvi Freiman. And Chaim Tzvi, I asked him about this. This is in the early 2000s. I asked him about this. What are you talking about here with this Ishu Shalayim? With the Farrakhan said this about Hitler, about it, that he was a great man, and then what Chaim Tzvi told me, he said no, what he meant was that he was greatly evil. He was a great Russia. And then I found quotes, but I never actually sat down to listen to Farrakhan, but I had to for work. And I was very upset at the things that Farrakhan said about the Talmud, lies that he said about the Talmud. He said some kind of thing that the Talmud says that if you should poison someone, and if they survive, then you'll know that they were sent by God. There's no such thing. If anything, the New Testament that the Christians have, and that the Nation of Islam also has in there, that they embrace as well, has a teaching along those lines, which is where you have the snake handler movement, of which Mos Islak was a member, right? So he was born and died as a snake handler, right? If you watch The Simpsons, right? And but still, it's not like a test that you give to someone else. And along those lines is the story of Rabbi Hanina ben Daisa putting his foot on the burrow of a poisonous reptile, and that the reptile bit him, and the reptile died. And he said it's not the reptile, that the snake or the dragon or whatever it is that kills, but it's the sin that kills. And that's the story of Rabbi Hanina ben Daisa. But again, this was something he was doing on his own, and so this, but I can't think of anything else. I've been born a derech against Shas, you know. I learned the whole Shas Bavli at least. Unless Farrakhan knows a Yerushalmi that I don't know, or a Medrash or something, he's just lying. And so that really offended me, that he's lying about our holy books. But the ironic thing is that Oprah Winfrey is more racist than Farrakhan. If you put that into perspective, what that means, it's not something we expected. All right, I didn't expect this video to go on more than 5 minutes, but I'm somewhat tired and overwhelmed right now. But I just wanted to share that with y'all. I'm thinking maybe to make a video on the history of Jewish liturgy, or if people have other suggestions what kind of videos they'd like to see, put in the comments below. And thank you for watching, and God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you all later. Take care.